Thank you so much. Our Scott Conan. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest was on Squawk on the Street yesterday. He wasn't concerned about the impact on the state's economy.
These business leaders that are outcrying right now have not even read the bill, and I've talked to many of them who admit they haven't read the bill. The business community in North Carolina has loved North Carolina for years. It's one of the fastest growing states in America. Charlotte's one of the best business communities in America. There's no cost here. Listen, this is a big fantasy. It happened in Houston when Houston had the same ordinances. All these same cast of characters were coming out saying they were going to pull out of Houston. They weren't going to do business. Houston's still in business.
Well, joining us right now is one of the business owners who signed the Human Rights Campaign open letter, Mitchell Gold, co-founder and chairman of home furnishings brand Mitchell Gold, and Bob Williams. The company's factory headquarters is in North Carolina. Did you read the bill?
I have not read the whole entire bill, but I've gotten good summaries of it, and I think the lieutenant governor is really misleading about that, and as well as the governor. People love to come to North Carolina because of great businesses like mine or Replacements or Bank of America, many others. It's those companies that are inclusive, but it is not the government.
So what happens now that this bill has passed? What does it mean for you guys down there in North Carolina and for your business?
Well, I think the big problem is for recruiting. When you want to recruit talent, creative talent, they really take a second look at whether or not they want to come to a state like North Carolina now that has this kind of exclusionary legislation. It's not inclusion at all, and when these guys talk about inclusion, they are talking out of both sides of their mouth. But I want to say one other thing. This is, even though I'm a business person, this legislation is not just about business. This legislation is about, what if you're a 15-year-old kid, you're struggling with your sexual orientation, your gender identity, and now on the news you have to see politicians, people that you should be looking up to, the governor. You have to see these people talking about how you are broken, how you're not fit to use the restroom that you want and have that personal dignity, how you aren't protected in the workplace or in a hotel or whatever. It's outrageous that young kids should have to go through this kind of turmoil in life and see that from their leaders.
So, Mitchell, just from the time perspective, why is this coming out now? Why is this in the forefront right today?
Well, I think that's, the real question is it's happening because the movement for full legal and spiritual LGBT equality, for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender equality, it's moved forward so quickly, and it largely has happened, I think, because people know us now. They know their kids, they know their family friends, and there's been such a move forward. And the courts, who are part of the checks and balances of our democracy, and say, no, you can't discriminate, you are entitled to equal protection. The courts have moved full equality. And the reality is fundamentalist Christians just hate the idea that gays will have an equal place in the workplace. They hate the idea that two gay guys are going to be married because they think little Joe or little Sally is going to be gay because I'm married to my great husband in North Carolina. And they don't understand that it's the way you're born. It's not some random, odd choice to make. So there's a real big reaction. And the lieutenant governor, I mean, if you Google and do some research on his religious beliefs, he's back in the Dark Ages. I mean, he's got a worldview of Christianity that is really 1,000 years old, and that's what he wants to take these poor innocent kids to.
Real quickly.
Yeah, I was going to say, where does it go next? I mean, you've obviously publicized your points of view here. Do you reach out to anybody else in government to try to actually change what's going on there?
Well, we're always doing that, but the reality is it's going to happen in the courts. And this is a pure abuse of the constitutional rights of me, of a 14 or 15-year-old kid, a transgender person in this state. It's a pure abuse of our civil rights, and it'll go to the courts. And just like marriage equality, and North Carolina worked so hard to have an amendment that said that I could not get married and spend $3 million on it. Now I have marriage equality in the state, and it'll go to the courts.
That must have been a nice wedding, Mitchell.
Well, it wasn't my wedding wasn't $3 million. It was expensive, but it wasn't that.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Mitchell Gold, from Mitchell Gold and Bob Williams. Well, it was